ladies and gentlemen. We would like to welcome you back to the Summit on Globalization of Human Capital 2010. It is our great honor to have this opportunity to invite Professor Dave Uritt to present the keynote speech. First, we would like to welcome our moderator, Mr. Shan Guilin, Director General, Bureau of Employment and Vocational Training, Council of Labor Affairs, Executive Yuan, to start the summit for us. Please welcome Director General Lin.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the summit. I think this is my great pleasure to introduce you our speaker, Professor Uritt. I think everyone knows that Uritt have published a lot of the books. I count it's 22 books. And I just asked Professor Uritt how you did that. And he told me that he spent a lot of time on the airplane. I don't know, I spend a lot of time too, but it's difficult for me. I think that's, let me try to think about from the 2010, the why of the work. Yeah, please ask the professor, don't ask me why of the work. And then I think the leadership in Asia. And also have a lot of books like HR Transformation, Leadership Code, company companions for strategic human resource, and also leadership's brand. So a lot of the book I cannot imagine. Should I continue? Okay, at least 1990 also write a book, Organization Capability. So many published. And so I think today we can learn from the professor a lot. So I think the time is limited. So please join me. Give a big welcome to Professor Uritt. The floor is yours. Thank
you. What a privilege for me to be with you today. I'm sorry I don't speak Chinese. My daughter lived in Taichung for 2 years, and she learned to speak fluent Chinese. About 10 years ago, we came with my wife and picked her up and toured Taiwan, and so I have been here as a tourist, but I have never done a speech here. I called her this morning and asked her for words to say in Chinese. She said her Chinese name was Wu. Wu? She said if you say it wrong, it means sanitation, so you must be careful with how you say it. It would be fun when I traveled with her 10 years ago from Taichung. She's blonde and very American and spoke very good Chinese. And she would surprise people. But I do not have that gift, so I apologize. Thank you. I'm honored to be with you today. And thank you, dignified guest, Director General, President, Chairman, and others who are here. Professor from India, thank you. I hope we can have a conversation today about talent and some of the trends. I won't claim to be an expert in Taiwan. I've been asking people what's exciting in leadership in Taiwan, and I've gotten wonderful answers. But what I try to do is visit countries and ask questions about leadership, talent, and human resources. I also have the privilege of writing many books. What I do, whoops, wrong one. I got it. I am not very good with this. I get to travel around and ask, what does talent mean? And I hope you have a copy of these notes. If you don't have a copy of these notes, if you could raise your hand, because I think it will be easier to follow. You can probably read the English better than understand, so I think that will help you. I get to think about leaders and leadership. And I love the world of ideas. Professor Rao, who will speak this afternoon, you were privileged to hear him. Do you like ideas? I love ideas. I love ideas. I like going to universities. I like working with young people. And in fact, my research when I was a younger professor was on numerical taxonomy. That doesn't translate into Chinese, and nobody in America knows what it is either. Taxonomy is taking complex things and making them simple. And I love complex ideas that I can find simplicity in. I also love the idea of application. How do I actually do things? And so I'm going to share some ideas today that may have impact. I hope you can translate them into your world in Taiwan. What's an idea that I can try to use? And I will try to have fun and learn with you as we do question and answer. So I hope we can do that. The Director General introduced me by the books I write. I have a son who's 27. He has a degree in statistics. And every time somebody introduces me by books, he says, "My dear father." And I say, "Yes, my good son." He says, "Nobody reads any of your books." And so those of us who write books, we don't write books so you will read them. We write books for ourselves to force us to think. And we've been lucky enough to write books on leadership. How do you rethink leadership and the agenda of leadership? We have a new book that will be introduced on Wednesday, Leadership in Asia Volume 2. And I'm trying in the last 2 years to learn about leadership in Asia. There's some books that will be handed out today that we did a year ago, and we've just done an update of that book. And it's been marvelous. Asia is one of the most critical places in the world today. Asian economy will lead the world in many ways. And what's been happening in Asia is economic success. We hope that leadership success will follow. It will be the sustaining factor. We've also written books in human resources, and as you introduced, the new book we just wrote is called The Why of Work. It's more about talent and individuals, and I will talk about some of that today. I am always in the process of thinking about the next book. What's your next book, Professor Rao?
1,000 managers. 1,000. I'm starting with 100 managers.
1,000 managers. Is that how many books you want to sell? Or my books don't sell that well, but we keep writing books. I've been asked today to talk about talent. And to give you a structure for my discussion, there are 5 questions I hope we can answer. Most of the time will be on question 4. But let's start with a discussion. What do we mean by talent? It's a very broad issue. Every few years in the business setting, a word begins to mean everything. Strategy, it means everything. Quality means everything. Talent is getting there. So I want to start by defining what do we mean by talent. Second, why does talent make a difference? In Taiwan, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Vietnam, in Asia overall, in Europe, in North America. Why is talent such a key factor for the success of a company? Number 3, what's an overarching way to think about talent? How do we get a metaphor, a story? And I'll try to show what's been done and where we're going. And number 4, where we'll spend most of our time, I'm going to take the world of talent and try to simplify it into a very simple formula for productivity. Competence. Does my organization have the right skills, the ability? Commitment. Are people willing to work hard? That's been the formula for the last decade. Do we have smart people who work hard? I think the emerging piece of that formula from some of the work in Singapore and in Malaysia in particular is, do people find meaning in the work they do? And so I'm going to suggest 3 major pieces of talent: competence, commitment, and contribution. And we'll spend most of our time on contribution, which is the book. Finally, what does this mean if I'm a leader, if I'm running an organization, or if I'm an HR professional? That's where we're going. This is a lot of material, and I know I need to be done because Taiwan is precise at 10:25, and I will do that. So go with me on this journey. If I have things that I say that are not clear, don't hesitate to send me an email or to follow up, and I will try to respond. I want you to leave today having a sense of what talent means, why it matters, what's a metaphor, and how do I do it. What do we mean by talent? We sat in a company recently, and the chair and the board of directors, the outside governing board, said to the executives, "You must improve talent." And when the board of governors says you must improve talent to the chairman said it to the head of human resources, the head of human resources said it to the head of learning, and everybody was trying to improve talent. They were doing a lot of things. Nobody sat back and said, what do we mean by talent? When you look at talent in a company, where is it? Let me suggest 4 specific things. Talent in a company is the CEO. Do we have a successor to the chairman? That is such a critical job. And in fact, in the leadership work we've done, that's not my topic today, we've argued that leaders are critical. A company needs a strong and good leader. Leadership is more critical. Leadership means you have a successor. You have somebody behind you. I was in a company yesterday in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where some of you studied. Who studied in Minnesota? I thought I met someone. It's cold in Minnesota.